The members of Pearl Jam remember what it's like to be young and not have a lot of money. Many Pearl Jam fans are teenagers who do not have the money to pay $30 or more that it's often charged for tickets today. It is well known in our industry that some portion of the service charges Ticketmaster collects on its sale of tickets is distributed back to the promoters in the venues. It is this incestuous relationship and the lack of any national competition for Ticketmaster that has created the situation we're dealing with today. As a result, our band, which is concerned about keeping the price of its tickets low, will almost always be in conflict with Ticketmaster, which has every incentive to try to find ways to increase the price of the ticket it sells.
Have you heard from other performers on this issue? Are there other bands who are concerned about this? And if so, or individual performers, could you share that with us?
I think mainly Kelly Curtis, our manager, has been talking to a lot of different people. I know we've gotten a lot of support from Aerosmith and Grateful Dead and Garth Brooks and R.E.M., Neil Young.
Remember when Pearl Jam tried to warn us of Ticketmaster?
Last week, I was with Aerosmith in Italy, where the band is currently on tour. We were talking about Ticketmaster and how it relates to our concert business. Steven Tyler, Aerosmith's lead singer, said to me, "Mussolini may have made the trains run on time, but not everyone could get a seat on that train." That's the problem that Aerosmith and I have with Ticketmaster. Yes, they have an efficient and profitable system, but its monopolistic aspects are unfair and hurtful.
What it also showcases is how nothing has changed, and frankly, it's only gotten worse.
Various promoters went to the group and spoke. We had no direct contact with them, and told them that we would compromise in this area, and that we would lower the service charge to $2.25 or $2.50, depending on the area. And the fact is that if the word compromise had been used, which is something that this great institution is built on, that's what Congress is built on, that's the way legislatures make things work, is by compromise, this problem might not have arisen to the level that it's on today. The fact of the matter is, both in band statements and in their memo that they submitted to Justice, they said, this was it, take it or leave it, and that caused some of the problem.
The CEO of Ticketmaster at the time, Fred Rosen, defended his company. With music lovers being completely priced out of arenas and festivals, it is pretty much the embodiment of late-stage capitalism on the electorate.
The band says it's their answer to overpriced venues that are pushing music lovers away because fans can no longer afford the cost of soaring concert tickets. A recent report showed that the average ticket price for the top 100 tours back in 1996 was $25.81, or about $52 adjusted for inflation. In 2024, the average ticket price is up to $135.92. Where did this idea for a house party tour come about?
Hey, thanks for having me. The idea came, it was born out of just a real pure, intentional moment of like, let's go have fun and get back to the way we started when we started touring with this band in a van. And it was thrust from the lips of our new manager, Megan, who's a 29-year-old genius, who said, I want to put you guys at house parties again. And we did one at USC a couple weeks ago, and it felt like, you know, this pure connection to the spirit of what rock and roll and that whole like non-denominational gathering of a love for music could create. And it's been gone for a long time, for us at least. 30 feet away up on an ivory tower, it's hard to connect to an audience, and this was a way to kind of embrace that spirit again.
Thus, the All-American Rejects.
We're not trying to sell you finance tickets to Coachella. We're not trying to sell you Ticketmaster penalty fees. We're not trying to sell you $25 parking. We're just trying to sell you some songs you might have grown up with and let you go with us in this non-denominational church of rock and roll.
Are putting on house shows in a city near you. Why? Vulture's Devin Ivey writes, it's time to party like we're extras and she's the man. That's what the All-American Rejects want us to do anyway, with their current tour giving the middle finger to big venues that charge a lawsuit-inducing amount of ticket fees. The band is embarking on what they call the House Party Tour, crowdsourcing stops directly from fans and playing in backyards, bowling alleys, and any other spaces that will have them. Ritter would even say, and I quote, we took $50,000 out of our own own pockets, booked a bus, put the crew salary on, and started this wild sort of ride. I recently read something about people financing festival tickets, the complete inaccessibility of the concert experience in 2025, and how it's juxtaposed against these wild and weird economic times. It blows my mind that our shows can still work. Ritter then stated this in that Vulture piece: capitalism is ringing at its loudest right now. For me, it was that we could find an opening and an opportunity as four guys from Oklahoma who didn't come from much. I was raised in a trailer house. My first concert was sitting on my porch, listening to a band that was playing at an outdoor pavilion because I couldn't afford tickets. I couldn't afford CDs. I found my music taste in the back seats of friends whose parents had money and could buy them. He would add, "You're seeing it now, where these giant artists, I'm not going to say her name, aren't really selling out their shows anymore, and they pay for these arenas to make it look like they did. The first 25% of the arena gets sold from people buying $300 tickets, and they don't even know that the local promoter is getting hundreds of free tickets to fill the rest of the venue." I can't believe that's not something people don't put a class action suit against, because it seems to be a robbery. What I think is rather important is to address a few things, and I'm actually going to ask Professor Richard Wolff about this on my podcast, which you all should go sub to, The Rick Strom Show, about how capitalism, what he says, it's ringing at its loudest right now. And I want to know from a professor the effects of capitalism on the music industry, not just the artists getting scraps. Where Dan Auerbach said in a podcast on the Joe Rogan Experience years back, prior to Joe Rogan inking a deal with Spotify, thus that episode was pulled. But Dan Auerbach saying that Spotify is screwing them, that they are making 0.0001 cent per play, and a play has to get you to a certain amount of time. Not just that, and not just about how places like Coachella, that Ritter even discussed in one of those interviews, how people are on payment plans to attend a music festival, but that and much more. I find it to be alarming. I find it to be troubling. And to be real with you, even living in a great city like Chicago, even the local venues are getting pricey. I looked at a show at Northerly Island, Huntington Bank Pavilion, Northerly Island. It's right off the lake. It is beautiful. As you're listening to this, Google it. You'll see it's a really nice venue outside, right off Lake Michigan in downtown, right by Grant Park. And a ticket for one show that I've seen them twice already. I don't have to go a third time. Those are about $150, $125 a person. If me and my wife want to go, that's all that, plus getting to the venue is horrible. And then also, I mean, I'm just telling you, my world, a babysitter. So we're looking at a pricey evening. It doesn't feel like it's worth it. There are some local shows, some local venues that put on really solid shows that I also feel like at this juncture, am I really going to pay $90 to go to a show? Like these prices are insane, and it is affecting us. And you wonder why there's so many duds of crowds that attend these. Not everybody, I want to be very, very clear, but I see a very similar relationship to sports. Because if you look at playoff games, the NBA playoffs are on right now. You look at those playoff games, the suits take up many of those seats. Look at the Super Bowl. The suits take up many of those seats. People that are just given tickets, which means that you and I, the real fans of the music, of the team, of the players, we don't get to go because we're priced out. It's a humongous problem. I will also say, the reason the All-American Rejects can do this, who I think are going to change the music industry in a very positive way, the reason they could do this is because they made their money already, and they wanted to get back to the heart of what it means to be a musician. All the points he's making is accurate, but how many other bands who have not made their money yet can spend $50,000, maybe $100,000 to do all of this? So I also saw he gave an interview on Part of My Take, as it was reposted on TikTok, where he also discussed how capitalism is destroying his industry. So these are all very good things. What they're doing, calling out capitalism, seeing the relationship, as many should, as I see it, between sports and music, venues, festivals, etc. I mean, it's wild, and it is hurting us, the true fans, from experiencing this stuff live and in person, which you absolutely know the players and the musicians would love to see. The passionate ones over the guys that are working in corporate America that could give two you-know-whats about what they're witnessing. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.